Welcome back to another deep dive. Today we're doing something a little different. We are stepping into a world that I think a lot of you are probably pretty familiar with.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Maybe you read the books years ago or you've definitely seen the movies, but we are going to look at it through a very specific, very intense lens. We're dissecting the immediate aftermath of the 74th Hunger Games.
That's right.
We're looking at the first 9 chapters of Catching Fire.
And if you think you know the story just because you know who won, you really need to buckle up. Because what we're analyzing today is this whole idea that winning isn't the end of the story.
Right.
We're so conditioned by stories, to think that once the dragon is slain or the tournament is won, the credits roll and everyone's happy.
And they all live happily ever after.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the source material we have today, it just proves that for Katniss Everdeen and Panem, winning was really just the opening move in a much deadlier, much more complex game.
It's so true. We have this narrative in our heads, writer. The hero survives the ordeal, they get to go home, they get to rest. But the text, it just paints a picture of immediate, almost suffocating dread.
It really does.
So today we're going to be unpacking the victory tour, which is, it's essentially a propaganda machine that just goes completely off the rails.
And the political chess match with President Snow?
Oh, yeah. And the spark of a rebellion that nobody, least of all Katniss, actually planned.
And we have a really clear mission for this deep dive. We aren't just here to recap the plot. We want to decode how a teenage romance becomes a political weapon.
Yes. And we want to understand why a handful of berries in an arena managed to cause what is basically a constitutional crisis in Panem.
And we're going to trace Katniss's psychological evolution, from a survivor who's just trying to protect her sister to a very reluctant symbol of a revolution.
So let's set the stage. We're dropped right back into District 12. Katniss is home. She's living in the Victor's Village now. And, on paper, she has it all.
Everything. Money, food, a nice house that isn't falling apart.
But looking at the text, she does not feel like a winner, does she?
Not at all. And that's really the first thing that just jumps out at you. There's this profound sense of dislocation. She is physically in the victor's village, surrounded by luxury, but psychologically, she's still in the seam.
She's still in the arena, really.
Absolutely. Waking up screaming from nightmares. The text describes her crouching in the woods, just trying to breathe. It's a classic depiction of trauma. The arena hasn't left her. She's just carried it home with her.
And speaking of home, let's talk about her relationship with Gale, because that dynamic has shifted so drastically.
He really has.
Gale's working in the mines now, 12 hours a day, just pounding away at coal seams, and Katniss is sitting around with basically nothing to do but figure out how to be a celebrity.
It creates this class divide that just wasn't there before. Before the games, they were equals. They were partners in survival.
Right, they were both starving, both hunting illegal game just to feed their families.
And now, Katniss is, for all intents and purposes, part of the elite. She tries to give him money or food, and he won't take it.
It's a pride thing.
It's a pride thing, absolutely, but it's also a reality check. The money itself feels tainted to him.
It's so awkward, isn't it? They meet on Sundays in the woods to hunt, which used to be their sanctuary. But even that feels different now.
The ease is gone.
Totally. The games just spoiled it.
The games poison everything they touch, even the one pure relationship she had. And that isolation is so crucial because it makes what happens next even more terrifying. She's alone in this big, empty house, feeling disconnected from everyone.
And then the devil comes knocking.
Literally.
And when we say the devil, we mean President Snow. This scene. Okay, let's really unpack this because this is the cold open of the book, essentially. Katniss walks into her study or room she barely even uses, and there he is, sitting there.
It is a violation. That is the only way to describe it. Think about the geography of Panem. Snow lives in the capital, the shining city on a hill.
He's a distant figure, an omnipotent face on television.
He does not make house calls. So for him to be sitting in her house in District 12, the poorest district, surrounded by her mother's ordinary things.
Katniss describes it perfectly. She says it's like taking the lid off a pot of stew and finding a fanged viper inside.
It's just so wrong. It triggers this primal fight or flight response. In you as the reader, you feel her panic.
And the sensory details here are just overwhelming. The author, Collins, really leans into the olfactory senses. It's not just that he's there, it's the smell.
Oh, the smell.
Right. The smell of genetically enhanced roses and blood.
It's so specific, and it's so, I don't know, gross when you really think about it. It's deeply unsettling.
But why blood? I mean, where is that coming from? Does he have a cut on his finger or something?
Well, the text gives us Katniss's internal speculation. She wonders if he drinks it. She has this horrifying image of him dipping a cookie into a cup of blood.
Which is just terrifying.
It is. And later in the series, we get a more concrete explanation. But even just sticking to this text, it suggests a rot within him. The perfume of the roses is there to mask the scent of illness or death coming from his own mouth.
So it's a cover-up?
A total cover-up. It's this combination that immediately tells you everything you need to know about him. This man is powerful, he looks pristine with his white rose, but inside, he is monstrous. He is corruption personified.
And he absolutely does not waste time with pleasantries. He just lays it all out. The Barry incident in the arena where Katniss and Peeta threaten suicide rather than kill each other, he knows it wasn't just about love.
He knows it was a political maneuver, or at the very least, he knows how it was received. And this is where the political theory of Panem gets really interesting.
How so?
Because in the Capitol, they bought the romance. They loved the whole star-crossed lovers act because they're completely distracted by the spectacle. They live for the drama.
But in the districts...
Snow tells her plainly, people viewed it as an act of defiance.
That's a huge distinction.
It is everything. Because if a girl from District 12 can defy the Capitol and live, what's to stop anyone else from trying? If the Capitol's rules, the most sacred rule being only one victor, can be broken, then maybe the Capitol isn't all-powerful after all.
He literally uses the word uprising. He admits that the system is fragile.
Which is a shocking admission for a dictator to make to a teenager, isn't it? He says the entire system would just collapse if the Capitol released its grip for even a moment.
It shows his fear.
Totally. We usually think of Snow as this stoic, untouchable figure, but right here, he's admitting that he's holding back a dam, and Katniss is the crack in the concrete.
So he gives her an ultimatum, and this is just terrifying. He says, convince me.
Not just the districts. She has to convince him. During the upcoming victory tour, she has to perform her love for Peeta so convincingly that she actually quells the unrest in the districts.
She has to put the fire out?
She has to put out the fire that she accidentally started. She has to make everyone believe she was just a silly, love-struck girl who couldn't bear to live without her Peeta, rather than a rebel who outsmarted the game makers.
And if she fails...
District 12 is destroyed.
Just gone.
Incinerated, wiped off the map, just like they say happened to District 13.
And it's personal, too. He threatens Gale. He knows about the kiss they shared in the woods. He calls him her cousin with this sneering tone.
That's his way of saying, I am watching you everywhere, even in the woods, even when you think you're safe. It's the ultimate panopticon. The illusion of privacy is just... it's gone.
And that's the burden she carries onto the train for the victory tour. She realizes she can never stop acting. She has to marry Peeta.
Not because she wants to, or even because she loves him in that way, but because it's the only move she has left to keep everyone alive.
And Haymitch gives her that grim reality check on the train, doesn't he? He tells her, you're never getting off this train.
That line gives me chills. Every single time. He means they are mentors now. They are tethered to the games forever. Every year they have to go back. Every year they have to watch kids die.
There's no retirement. There's no after.
Winning was just a life sentence to a different kind of prison.
Which brings us to segment 2, the victory tour itself. They get on this luxury train, and the contrast is just, it's sickening.
Oh, it's awful. They're eating lamb stew with dried plums while people are literally starving to death just outside the window.
And you have Effie Trinket, who is just obsessed with the schedule. We have schedule to keep.
Yeah, she's worried about being late for dinner, while Katniss is worried about preventing a genocide. It just highlights the bubble that the Capitol citizens live in.
I don't think Effie's malicious, not really.
No, not at all. She's just blindly complicit. She is completely insulated from the consequences of her lifestyle. She doesn't see the connection.
But that bubble bursts pretty fast when they get to District 11. This is Rue and Thresh's home. And Katniss notices immediately that this is not like District 12.
No. District 12 is neglected. District 11 is oppressed. And there's a distinct difference.
What do you mean by that?
Well, District 12 is sort of left to rot. The Capitol doesn't care much as long as the coal keeps coming. But District 11 is an agricultural district. It's critical to feeding the capital.
Right. If the coal stops, people get cold. If the agriculture stops, people starve.
Exactly. So the security there is much, much tighter. Katniss sees these 35-foot fences, watchtowers with armed guards everywhere.
Yeah.
It's a police state. The workers in the fields are treated like livestock.
So they go to the ceremony in the square. It's supposed to be this routine thing. Read from the cards, smile, wave, get back on the train.
But Peeta goes off script.
This is such a pivotal moment for his character.
It really is. He looks at the families of Rue, and Thresh Rue's family is described as a flock of small, dark birds. And he just can't do the script. He realizes the absolute injustice of it all.
So what does he do?
He offers to give them 1 month of his and Katniss's winnings every year for the rest of their lives.
Which is completely unheard of. That's probably illegal, isn't it?
It almost certainly is. The Hunger Games are designed to isolate the victor. You win, you get the spoils, and you forget the dead. You're supposed to be grateful and move into your fancy house.
You're not supposed to share.
By sharing the winnings, Peeta is rejecting the zero-sum nature of the games. He's saying, we are still connected. Your loss is my loss. It's an act of redistribution of wealth in a system that is built on hoarding it.
And then Katniss speaks, and she sees Rue's family, and she breaks down.
And her speech isn't really political, not on the surface. It's a speech about grief. She talks about how she sees Rue in the flowers and the mocking jays.
But in a totalitarian regime, grief is political.
It absolutely is, because it humanizes the victims. It reminds everyone that Rue wasn't just a number, just a tribute. She was a little girl.
And the crowd, the reaction is just, it gives me chills every time I read it.
It's silence first, a dead, heavy silence. And then you hear the whistle, Rue's 4-note mocking jay tune.
And then the salute, the 3-finger salute.
Which is a District 12 gesture.
Yeah.
People need to remember that. It means thanks, it means admiration, it means goodbye to someone you love. But to see an entire crowd in District 11 use a District 12 gesture,
That's solidarity.
that is the definition of a unified front.
Yeah.
They are dissolving the boundaries the Capitol put between the districts. They're saying, we are not competitors in your game, we are allies.
But the Capitol strikes back. Instantly.
No hesitation. They grab an old man, the one who whistled first, and they drag him up the steps. And they shoot him.
Just like that. Dead. Right in front of Katniss and Peeta.
This is the turning point. Up until now, the threat from Snow was theoretical. Convince me or there will be trouble. Now there's a dead body on the ground.
Yeah.
And Katniss realizes that her presence didn't calm anything down. She wanted to save them, to comfort them, but instead her presence was the match that lit the fuse. She got someone killed just by being there.
It's absolutely tragic. She's shoved back into the Justice Building, and Haymitch, Peeta, and Katniss have this frantic, panicked meeting in the attic. They're realizing the whole tour is a disaster.
And Pete is finally brought into the loop. He's been kept in the dark about Snow's threat.
And he's furious when he finds out.
Naturally. But he steps up. He immediately realizes they have to be a united front, that the act has to be perfect from now on, but the damage is done. The spark has already jumped from District 12 to District 11.
So they continue the tour, and it's just this blur of forced smiles and absolute terror.
Right. They go from district to district. And Katniss makes this really interesting observation. She notes that in some places, the people look like weary cattle, just completely broken.
But in others,
In others, she mentions Districts 8, 4, and 3, she sees elation and fury.
the fury is the key word there.
It is. They aren't just cheering for a winner. They're cheering for a survivor who beat the system. They're projecting all of their own revolutionary desires onto her. She's become a vessel for their anger, whether she wants to be or not.
So in a desperate bid to fix this, to satisfy Sneer, Peeta proposes, publicly, in the Capitol.
It's the Hail Mary play. It's the last move they have. If a wedding is what the Capitol wants, he'll give them a wedding.
And the crowd in the Capitol, they go absolutely wild. They love a wedding.
Of course they do. It's more spectacle.
But Katniss looks at President Snow. He's watching from a balcony or a box somewhere, and he just gives her a look.
A subtle shake of the head.
That moment, my stomach just dropped reading it.
It signifies the end of any hope for a peaceful resolution. The performance failed. The love story isn't enough to cover up the cracks in the dam anymore. Snow knows it, and now Katniss knows it.
Which leads us directly to the party at Snow's mansion, and this is segment 3. The contrast here is just, It's beyond sickening. We just came from districts where people are being executed for whistling, where they're described as weary cattle.
And now we're at this party where the room is dressed like the night sky. There are waterfalls of wine.
It's like Rome before the fall. It's pure, unadulterated excess.
But the most disturbing detail, and this is something that really sticks with you as the reader, is the emetic wine.
The pink liquid.
Yes.
Yeah.
Katniss's prep team, her friends, really, they offer her this drink that makes you vomit.
And why would you do that?
So you can empty your stomach and eat more.
How else would you have any fun at a feast? That's the line they use.
Just think about the morality of that. In District 12, Katniss knows the sound of a starving child's stomach rumbling. She mentions Vic, Gale's little brother, licking corn syrup off a piece of bread as a treat.
And here, food is a toy.
It's something to be consumed and then regurgitated just for entertainment. It perfectly encapsulates the moral ride of the Capitol. They aren't just oppressive, they are grotesque in their gluttony.
And it's amidst this grotesque party that Katniss meets the new head game maker, Plutarch Heavensby.
A very, very interesting figure. He took over after Seneca Crane was, well, removed.
Executed. Let's just be real about it.
Right, executed. And Plutarch, he seems like just another Capitol elite. He's making small talk, he's charming, but then he does something strange. He checks the time.
He shows her his pocket watch, and he makes a point of showing her the face.
He runs his thumb over the crystal, and for just a split second, a holographic image appears.
A mockingjay.
A mockingjay. And then it disappears. And he says, it starts at midnight.
At the time, Katniss just thinks he's showing off a souvenir from the games. You know, she thinks, oh, the mockingjay is a fashion trend now. He's just proud of his unique watch.
But for you, the listener, and for us analyzing this, the alarm bells are just ringing off the hook. A game maker flashing a mockingjay, the symbol of the rebel, to the girl who started it all.
And that phrase, it starts at midnight. What does that even mean? Is it a time? Is it a countdown?
It's our first real clue that the rebellion might be more organized than just random riots in the streets. There might be players on the inside.
That is a very tantalizing thought. But Katniss doesn't have time to process it, because things are escalating back home. They finish the tour, they go back to District 12, and they go to the mayor's house for dinner. And this is where we get the confirmation. This is segment 4, the spark.
Right. Katniss is wandering around the mayor's house. She finds Madge, the mayor's daughter, and before the big reveal on the TV, we actually get some critical lore about the Mockingjay pin itself.
Oh, right. Madge explains the history of it, the Jabberjays.
The Jabberjays, yeah. They were these mutations, genetically modified birds created by the Capitol during the First Rebellion, the Dark Days. They were spies.
They could record human speech and repeat it back.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Super creepy. The Capitol sent them into the woods to listen to what the rebels were planning.
But the rebels figured it out.
They did. And they started feeding the birds lies, false information. So the Capitol got embarrassed and just shut the program down, leaving the birds out in the wild to die off.
But they didn't die.
They didn't die. They mated with female mockingbirds and created a whole new species, the mockingjay.
So the mockingjay is a species that was never even meant to exist. It's a living, breathing symbol of the Capitol's failure.
Precisely. It's a creature that survived against their design, just like Katniss. That's why the symbol resonates so powerfully. It's not just a bird. It's a living screw you to the Capitol's control.
And while Katniss is thinking about all this, she stumbles upon a broadcast on the mayor's television. It's an update intended only for him.
A level 3 security alert, not for public consumption.
And what does she see?
She sees District 8. And it's not a protest, it's a war. There are crowds of people with bricks fighting against peacekeepers with guns. Buildings are on fire.
It confirms everything Snow feared.
Everything. The uprisings aren't just simmering anymore, they have boiled over. District 8 is in open revolt.
This changes everything for Katniss. She realizes she has to act, so she goes to her safe place. She goes to the cabin by the lake in the woods to meet Gale. This brings us to segment 5.
And this scene is just, it's heartbreaking because it highlights the fundamental ideological split between Katniss and Gale.
Katniss arrives with food. She brings these nice gloves that Cinna made. And she has a plan. Let's run.
Her instinct is flight. It's always been flight. I need to keep Prim safe. I need to keep my mother safe. She wants to grab Gale, their families, Peeta, Haymitch, and just disappear into the woods. She honestly thinks they can survive out there.
And Gale, at first he's ecstatic. He hears "run away with me," and he thinks
it's a romantic gesture. He literally says, I love you. And Katniss, oh, it's so painful. She just says, I know.
Ouch. That is not the response you ever want to hear.
No. But she's honest.
Yeah.
She said she can't think about love right now. She's just trying to survive. But the mood shifts instantly when she mentions the uprising in District 8.
Gale's eyes just light up. He's not thinking about running away anymore.
Not at all. He sees this as the opportunity. He says it's happening. He wants to stay and fight. He asks her, what about the other families? What about all the people who can't run?
It's the difference between individual survival and collective liberation.
That's a perfect way to put it. Katniss wants to save her tribe. Gale wants to save the world.
And he rejects her plan. He literally throws the gloves back at her. He says, I don't want anything they made in the Capitol.
It's a complete rejection of her and her compromise. He sees the world in black and white. Capital versus districts. Katniss, who has friends in the Capitol like Cinna, she sees the gray areas. But Gale isn't having any of it. He just storms off.
And Katniss is left there. So she eventually goes to Peeta, and the contrast in Peeta's reaction is so telling.
It's night and day.
She asks him to run away, and he just says, yes.
No questions asked.
Yeah.
If you go, I go. It just highlights his unconditional loyalty to her. He doesn't care about the politics or the strategy. He cares about Katniss.
But the plan to run, it doesn't get very far, does it?
Not at all, because when they get back to town, everything has changed. This is segment 6, the whipping.
This is one of the most brutal scenes in the entire book.
It really is. They walk into the main square, and there's a crowd, and Gale is tied to a post.
He was caught poaching. He had a wild turkey.
Now, in the past, with the old head peacekeeper, Cray, this wouldn't have been a big deal. Cray was corrupt. You could buy him off. He'd probably just buy the turkey from you.
Right. But Cray is gone.
Enter Romulus Thread.
The new head peacekeeper.
And he is a true believer. He is the law. He isn't interested in bribes. He's interested in order. And he has whipped Gale into unconsciousness. His back is described as just shredded.
And Katniss throws herself in front of the whip. She takes a lash right across the face.
Which is such a shocking moment of violence against a victor. It shows that her special status doesn't protect her anymore. Thread does not care that she's the girl on fire. To him, she's just a girl from the scene breaking the law.
Haymitch and Peeta have to intervene to stop Thread from shooting Gale right there in the square.
Yeah, and even another peacekeeper, Pernia, steps in to say the punishment is complete. It's a small act of defiance.
They finally get Gale to Katniss's mother. And we go into this really intense medical drama.
The description of the wounds is just horrific. But what stands out to me here is the community response. We see the snow coat.
Explain what that is.
It's this mixture of snow and herbal juices that Prim and her mother whip up. They lay it over the wounds to freeze and numb them. It's a very specific District 12 cure. It's about making do with what you have.
And Madge comes through. She brings her mother's morphine.
The morphine, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is incredibly expensive and rare in the districts. It shows that the alliances are shifting. The mayor's daughter is helping the poacher. The victor is taking a lash for the rebel. The lines are being drawn.
And watching Gale lying there just battered and broken, Katniss has a major realization. She realizes she can't run.
She says, life in District 12 isn't really so different from life in the arena. And that is the key psychological shift for her.
She gets it now.
She gets it. She realizes that running away won't stop the misery. It won't stop the Capitol from hurting the people she loves. She chooses Gale in that moment, not necessarily romantically, but ideologically. She chooses to stay and cause all kinds of trouble.
So she's committed. She's going to stay and fight. But then the hammer drops. This brings us to segment 7. The refugees.
A blizzard hits.
Hmm.
And when it finally clears, the square has been completely transformed. There are stocks, a gallows, a new whipping post.
And the Hob, the black market, has been burned to the ground.
Martial law has officially arrived in District 12.
Katniss feels suffocated. She gets this delivery of wedding dresses from the Capitol, and it's just too much. She needs to get out just for a minute.
So she puts on her white camouflage snow gear from the Victory Tour, which is a very ironic usage, and she sneaks out to the woods. She heads to that concrete cabin.
And she finds she's not alone. There are 2 women there, Bonnie and Twill.
And they're wearing peacekeeper uniforms.
But they're ill-fitting ones.
Right, the runaways from District 8, and they offer Katniss a cracker.
A cracker with a bird stamped on it. A mockingjay.
It's like the communion wafer of the revolution. It's a sign. We are on your side. We know who you are.
They tell Katniss about the uprising in 8, the factory explosion that started it, but then they drop the bombshell. They tell her where they're going.
They are heading to District 13.
Now, every child in Panem is taught that District 13 was destroyed 75 years ago. It's a toxic wasteland. It's the boogeyman story. Look what happens if you rebel. You get obliterated.
So Katniss argues with them. She says, "You can't go there. It's nothing but graphite and dust."
But Twill and Bonnie, they have a theory. They've been watching the Capitol broadcasts very, very closely. Every time the Capitol shows footage of District 13,
It's the same footage.
the same Mockingjay flies in the corner of the screen every single time.
It's stock footage. The Capitol's lazy or arrogant. They're just reusing the same old clip. And why would they do that?
Because if they showed the real live District 13, they might see something they don't want people to see.
Like smoke from a chimney. Or new buildings. Or people.
People living underground.
That is the hope. That there is a stronghold. A place the Capitol doesn't control. And if District 13 exists, then the entire history taught by the Capitol is a lie.
That's a massive, massive paradigm shift. It means there's somewhere to go. Not just into the wild, but to an actual civilization.
But it also raises a really terrifying question. If District 13 exists, and presumably they have weapons and resources, why haven't they helped? Why have they let the other districts starve and suffer for 75 years?
That's a good question.
It is, but that's a question for another day. For now, it just gives Katniss a potential destination, a new kind of hope.
So let's wrap this up. We've gone from a victory tour that was supposed to be a PR stunt to pacify the districts to a full-blown military occupation of District 12.
We've seen the berry trick evolve from a desperate act of teenage survival into a legitimate symbol of revelation.
And we've seen Katniss evolve so much. She started these chapters hunting in the woods, trying to pretend everything was normal.
And she ends them realizing that the arena has no borders. The game never ended.
The illusion of safety is gone. Being a victor doesn't protect you. Money doesn't protect you. The only way out is through.
Exactly.
So what are the key takeaways for you, for our listener here?
Okay, I think there are three big ones. First, the symbolism of the Mockingjay. It is fascinating to watch it mutate and evolve. It started as a pin badge gave her.
Right, just a token.
Then it became a fashion trend in the Capitol, a completely meaningless aesthetic. But in the districts, it's a secret code. It's on a cracker. It's a whistle. It has taken on a life of its own, totally independent of Katniss.
And the second takeaway?
I'd say it's the failure of fear. Snow's whole strategy is brutality. Executing the man in District 11, whipping Gale, burning the Hob, but it's not working.
It's backfiring.
It's acting as an accelerant. The harder he squeezes, the more the districts slip through his fingers. He's creating martyrs, not obedience.
And finally,
The question of 13. This introduces the idea of a potential third player in this game. It's not just rebels versus the Capitol anymore. There might be a hidden superpower involved. And that changes the strategic landscape completely.
I want to leave you with a provocative thought, something that has been bugging me since we talked about Plutarch Heavensby.
The Watch.
The watch. Plutarch shows Katniss a watch with a disappearing Mockingjay. Twill and Bonnie show her a cracker with a Mockingjay. We know the rebels in District 8 are using this symbol. Is it possible? Is it possible that this rebellion isn't just spontaneous anger?
You mean it could be organized?
What if it's being organized from the inside, even by the game makers themselves?
It starts at midnight. If Plutarch is involved, that implies a level of conspiracy that goes all the way to the top of the Capitol.
And if that's true, is Katniss actually leading this revolution? Or is she just a piece being moved on a board by players she hasn't even met yet?
Is she a player, or is she just a pawn all over again?
That is the question. The games have changed, but maybe the game makers haven't.
Listen closely.
Thank you for listening to this deep dive into Catching Fire. Think about that distinction between just staying alive and truly living. We'll see you in the next deep dive.